Alright, welcome back. So after this projection, we're now going to move to ZBrush. If you think that's really blocking you, that buffer, you can switch to, a paint brush. So you'll go back to normal. And let's move on to the layers. And underneath the base, the layers palette, you can select the base and create a new adjustment layer and use the copy channel. Okay. And what this copy channel will be copying is the red channel of the texture, which it doesn't do that for some reason. Let me delete it. Select that and delete. Not sure what's happening. Let me try that again. Maybe with nothing selected. And then we can do another copy channel. Huh, doesn't do that. Yeah, that's because I'm viewing the selected layer, not the selected our layers. Sorry about that. So the copy channel will be copying, whatever is in that channel. And you see, I do notice some really bad result I'm getting here, though. So I may choose to go back and do some tweaking here. Like that part is all empty, so that's not good. Go here and fix that. No big deal. Alright, go to the other side and fix that part too. With those bigger posts. Alright, so that looks good enough now. Don't really like what's happening there. So let me use some the details around the eye here to replace that. Okay. Alright, you can go detail and detail, but let's move on. So we have the copy channel here. What I'm copying is, let's press P button to switch to pen so that I'm not gonna see that buffer anymore. So now on the copy channel, it's copying the red channel, which is one of the layers. Actually, I have one of the channels here, the red one, the medium kind of detail result. And let me create a new one. Oh, actually, let me rename this guy. This is going to be the medium detail. And then let me disable that by closing the eye here, create a new layer, and I'm going to choose copy channel one more time. This time I'm going to copy the green channel. And if you look at it, it's really small refined details. So I'm going to call this one small detail. Okay, so that's the smaller details. Oh, let me change that to uppercase. Doesn't matter. Close that and create one more color copy. And this guy is going to be a big detail. And I'm going to change the channel copying to the blue, which is the big detail. Okay. Although I think that this edge is kind of like, a little bit too visible here, I'm going to go back to the base. And then I'm going to use the projection again, just to blend it out more if possible. So go to the front view and zoom in. And so a lot of tweaking you can do down the way, just make sure that it's decent enough. Okay, so just have some nice blending to the edge, no big deal. Alright, okay. So then after that, we can now go to the process of exporting the textures. Let me right click on the big detail and export. It's easier, I think I can drag the layers to the top. Right click and export flattened, and export all layers flattened. Okay, I'm gonna put that on my desktop and I'm gonna create a new folder and call it detail textures, and inside of it I'm gonna name my detail, because this time I'm duplicating or exporting the big detail result. I'm gonna call it big, export all patches. Okay, it's gonna flatten everything and then export the results as multiple maps to my model. Okay, let me hide that and go back to the smaller detail and show the smaller detail. I'm gonna do the same exporting, but this time it's gonna be the smaller one. So small, and then export all patches. That's gonna be another one, and then let's move on to the last one here, which is the medium detail. This guy. Right click and export flattened, all layer flattened, and that's gonna be the medium one. And then export all patches. Okay, so we're basically now separating those 3 layers, or 3 different level of details. Now you see why we combine them together here, because in that way we can just project them all together. So that's it. Okay, when they're done, then we can switch back to ZBrush. So that's my ZBrush folder file. Then you can see my body is over here, but the body is like a high resolution data mesh body. I need to actually get in my smaller body here, my actual low resolution body. So let me go to subtools and then insert anything. Hopefully that works. It's doing autosave. Oh yes, because of Marvelous Designer is like really expensive, so ZBrush crashes because of that. So you may want to go and Control S to save Marvelous Designer. Sorry, not Marvelous Designer, the Mari, and then you can close it so we can save some performance. And reopen ZBrush. Alright, and let me open my file here. Sorry about the crash, but you know, Mari is really expensive. When Mari is open, anything else like Substance Spinner, Marvelous Designer, Maya, ZBrush, anything that is using graphic card will be getting really slow. It's just dominating those things. Anyway, this should work now. Let me go to subtools, and I can then go find my body, and I'm gonna shoot it to the top, holding down Shift and click, and then insert. Let me insert something simpler, like just a sphere. Grab that sphere and then go import. I'm gonna import my model. Where is it? Let me try that again. Just try to do one more export so I can copy the location here. So that's where I exported my model. Here, body with UV, tile to ZBrush. That should be the one. Let me open that. So that's my geometry of the model. Okay. Just for the speed, you can of course use some project method to get the high resolution detail back. I don't really have that much of a difference between those two, so I'm just gonna use this one here, the original one. I'm just gonna hide it and not using it. Let me Control D to subdivide it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 until I get around 7 million polygons, so I can really capture those kind of detail. Alright, and then I'm gonna go to the displacement map here and click the displacement and import, and go to my detail textures and have those ones. I just need the first one actually, the big one here for now. Let me open that. Okay, and then I want to turn on the displacement map, but there will be a note that I have to create a texture. The texture map is right above displacement map, so just go there and create a new texture. And go back to displacement map and change the intensity to something like 1. Let's just take a look. Now I do have a problem here too. The UV is flipped. That's one of the ugliest thing of the brush. It's always flipped for some reason. So let's go to UV map and flip by going to the UV map and adjust and flip the V direction. Okay, and you will immediately notice that that's too strong. So the intensity 1 is actually too much. I'm going to change the value to something much smaller, like 0.02, just to take a look. That actually looks pretty nice already. So probably that's the value I'm going to choose for my model. You see that little empty area? I forget to project it properly. So you may go back if you don't like the result you're getting here. It's all about matching properly. So if it's matching really good, then you don't have to go back. If it's not, then you may need to. Anyway, so that's projecting using displacement map to get the detail like this. And 0.02 might be actually pretty good, but I intend to make it a little bit more stronger, so 0.04. Alright, it's too strong, but I can reduce it later. So for now, I just wanted to capture the information and don't want it to be too weak. So let me just apply this displacement map. Oh, before I do that, let me go to the layers and store that into a layer. So new layer and name it big detail or big. Okay, and then I go back to displacement map and then apply displacement map. This is gonna actually project it on the model. Okay. Now the benefit of that now is you can use that slider to tweak how strong it is. If you don't like it to be too strong, you can tweak that now to get the proper amount that you really want it to have. And oftentimes this is pretty good enough, but you can of course import other detailed layers. Like let me actually disable that by turn off the eye and create a new layer and name this medium. The medium layer here, let me go to the displacement map, and then this time I'm going to load the other one, medium 1001 here. Okay, so that's the medium one. I'm going to apply it to the mesh one more time, and that's going to be captured by the new layer here, and then I can lower that down to get a decent result of the medium detail. And then the combination of those two will be the result I will eventually end up with. And you can do the smaller detail one, but that one is like really small, so I don't really think I need that. I just need those two layers to give me a very decent, skin kind of result. Of course, it's not, all good enough. So maybe you can create a new layer and start to do some fine tuning. Like maybe let me have a smaller brush. It's too strong. To do some fine tuning using your other brushes to get some more wrinkle if you wanted to. So this is no limitation. After that, you can do whatever else you wanted to do of the face. Like for example, I think I may want it to have better shapes of the eye corner. So let me do some dragging. Okay. All right. So another thing you probably noticing is that they're not only on the face, they're on the body too, because ZBrush doesn't really respect the UV tile when you're using texture or importing texture. Now to fix that, I have to somehow go back. So let me actually disable all three of the layers. So that's gonna bring me back to the original shape. And I'm going to go for the morph target and then store morph target so that this one remembers how they looks like. And then I can go back to the layers and turn them back on again. And then I can use the morph brush BMO and just morph those back. layer recording. Oh, I turned on the recording. So turn on the recording to morph those back to their proper result. And of course, if you want to load in other UV tiles, you can do that. But all I'm concerning is the face. For other part of the body, they're all covered by garment, so don't really need anything almost. In BMO, right? And push that in. All right. Oh, that part is also having some very weird result because I think I changed the shape down the way. Just tweaking that, no big deal. All right. And sometimes because the garment is pushing the body in, so the body shape is different. Anyway, so now I have a decent displacement map that I can use, and that's actually all I want you to do in the displacement result. That's all I want you to do in the assignment. Just do these, and then when you're done, just screen capture what's in ZBrush like this, and then we should be happy to go to move on to the next steps. Okay. All right. Oh, we can actually do some testing and see how this looks like in Maya when we're rendering it. We can actually bake a displacement map to do so. You know what? I'm gonna leave that for later because the tutorial is getting too long, 16 minutes, and let's just go step by step. So for now, all we have is just the projected result in ZBrush, and we can later on use that to bake either a displacement map or a normal map. So it doesn't really matter what we do next. But for now, this step is what I want you to practice. So thanks for watching, and I'm gonna see you in the next tutorial.